Hey everybody, I am here with Oscar. He is basically done. My last video, I showed you the color selection for Oscar, or at least my color selection process. Didn't record anything else in the process. I took lots of photos, but I didn't record the process. But this last part that I completed on Oscar was such a learning experience for me. I thought I'd share that. When I finished Oscar, you see here, this is actually a scan of Oscar yesterday when I finished him. I knew I wanted to keep him isolated because I wanted the focus to be on that sweet face, on those eyes, just on that look that he had. You can tell his owner took this picture. You can just tell the love he had for his owner. And if you look here, this is the actual reference photo. In the reference photo, he's in his bed. Nice, soft, cushy bed. But I didn't necessarily want to include that bed because I knew I was going to have to fade it out, and I wasn't sure if it was going to make sense. And I thought, I'm just going to isolate him. So that's what I did. Actually sent it to the person that commissioned it. She loved it. I sprayed it with fixative. I took it and got a high-res scan like I always do for my finished projects, just so I have a record of it. And I also share those with my clients in case they want to make additional prints. That's something I let them do. But I kept looking at it. I left it on my board because I hadn't packaged it yet when I got back home, and it just was bugging me. And he was floating. You know, yes, my focus was on him, but it bugged me. So I sent a message to a good artist friend of mine and asked her what she thought. I thought, do I need to add a shadow? Do I need to ground him somehow? I didn't want to put the whole bed in. And she actually came back and gave me some really good advice. This was him before. This was him. She said, yes, he needs a shadow. And I had already started messing with a shadow. This is actually on a picture, a printout of the final scan. And so I was not doing this on my actual art because I knew better. And also because this person that I was asking, my fellow artist, Dolores Jensen, also known as Dolo Art, Cove Imaginings. She's just got a couple of amazing Instagram accounts and channels on YouTube. But she told me, don't ever just do it on your original art. Do it on tracing paper or print out a copy. So that's what I did. So I had started this on a piece of, I guess it was just copy paper, right? Because it's what came out of my printer, just whatever came out of my printer. It was actually just a printout of the scan. And I wasn't liking it. I had put the shadow way too high. I didn't like that, so I tried to erase that, and I was trying to imagine, would that work? So she came back with this suggestion. I sent it to her, and she said she's so awesome. She drew on my picture digitally, and she showed me how to look at how the light's coming from this direction, from the front actually in this direction. And so his little chest would poke out, so there would be a shadow here. The shadow would change shape and probably come up like this. There might even be a little shadow here. That helped tremendously. And then she came back, so I tried that. I was working on that, and that's what you see me trying to do, on this one. So then she came back and said, or maybe just put a shadow right here, which I really liked. I liked that idea too. So what I ended up doing, I'm going to show you my process. So this was the first one. I started darkening up the shadows there. And then this is actually on, I decided I'm going to do this. So this now is actually on my pastel mat. And I was liking it, but it still just seemed too, I don't know, fake, not natural. It definitely was grounding him. I chose the green because of the green pastel mat, and it's gonna, when you see the actual finished piece, you're gonna see that this does really make sense. But I chose the green as my shadow. I had tried a gray, I had tried a lighter red, I had tried everything and nothing worked. And then something clicked in my brain that said, use the green. If he's on a green background, his shadow will be a darker green. So that's what I did. That's why I chose the green. And you can see my pastel, pan pastels over here that I actually used and played with. And I just kept erasing more and more, and I was liking that. I'm like, okay, this is getting there. It's getting close. And then somewhere around this point, I was thinking, you know, this is starting to look like his bed. It's starting to get that, because I'm erasing, and by this point, you know, there's no getting this up, right? I used my kneaded eraser, and it wasn't going to get much lighter. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to make this work somehow. And so I started adding dots. When you look at his bed over here, you can see there's some darker dots. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I just took my makeup tool with my pan pastels on it, and I started dotting it. And I'm like, this is working. Okay, I like this. And I started to really darken this up in here just by dabbing this darker color in there. And then I even went in with a dark pencil. I believe it was with my black, my Faber-Castell Polychromos, and just very lightly started adding some darker parts in there very lightly, because I didn't want it to be very obvious. So you can see how it's getting more finely defined and refined. Okay, and then I ended up adding, because that looked weird to me, and I'm like, you know what, he has some shadow here, he's got some bed here. I didn't want my signature to stick out that much. I had written Oscar in darker here. So I did that. And I think it works. I made my signature lighter because I thought it was too dark. I just didn't want it to stand out that much. I kind of wanted it to blend more in the background. That's the original. So to compare, that's the first one where he's not grounded compared to this one. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It started out with me just going, oh, a shadow, and I wasn't liking it. I didn't give up. I had a friend that gave me wonderful advice, and I just kept going. And now he has a cute little cushion, and it makes sense more than this would have, just because you wouldn't have necessarily understood what was going on if I just included exactly what was here. But I made this part darker because that's the part that is behind him. The light, his body is blocking that, so that's why this is all darker. This is all darker, and everything else can be lit in varying stages. So there he is. There's Oscar, and I see some little pieces of pencil. I have to keep swiping him. He has not been sprayed again. So this is why I keep a kneaded eraser around. I'm gonna clean him up, and it's raining outside right now. And then I will spray him and protect him once again for the stuff that I did. And I will re-scan him and then deliver him to my customer. So there you have it. A way to ground your object by just using light and what makes sense with the light and what would be around him, and not being confined too much by what your original is. You can still make it work, have it make sense, but not be confusing for the viewer. So there you go. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, just please post them down below. If you have any other ideas, I'd love to collaborate. And that's where I get so much inspiration, is collaboration from my fellow artists and friends. And would love to get more ideas. All right. We are a community of artists and we need to support each other. So let's start doing that. Until next time, hope you enjoyed the video.